Alright, so today I'm going to show you how to replace an Inner Fenderwell piece. This is just something I made up. It's nothing special, no order. Pretty much this is about the easiest part to make. Sometimes it can be hard and whatnot. Alright, so let's get to showing you how to put this baby on. Alright, so here's my spot area I'm putting in. I still got another piece that comes down here, but you don't want to build the piece like this because it's already becomes difficult enough to do this alone or this alone instead of trying to get this all matched. It's just the way the shape of the fender well is. Alright, so what I did is I cut out this part right here just so I could get, up behind it. So what's going to end up happening, put this right here, and I got it pretty much level so I can put it just at the bottom of that. So excuse me. So it's pretty much where she's gonna sit. The only other thing I'm gonna do is, see how it overlaps right here? I'm going to flange this piece in so it would come in like that, and then just cut this where this needs to be. Now you'll notice that I've got a couple rust through holes. I got some up here. I got a little piece that I'm putting in right here, but I mean it's literally just small. So instead of just replacing this entire piece right here, what I'm going to do on the other areas is I'm going to fill them with glass, and then this inner fender well is going to be covered with a whole new tar, so that the seam sealer over this is going to do great, and then with the tar on top. So I'll do glass, and then I'll do seam sealer, and then I'll do my tar. Alright, so let's get the fitting so you see where she sits. Alright, I just got basically 2 clamps on. Get this sitting where it's going to be on this side. Get this sitting where I'm pretty sure it's going to be at. Now it's not, I mean, I got it pretty close up against it, but one thing you can do is if you can feel a little gap in between here or whatnot, what you do is you'll just pinch it with your glove, or you get another, if you have other clamps or whatever, you can always come in and just spot it up. Just any kind of clamp would work. And you just get her tight, but if you get it right, you don't have to deal with it. So what I'm going to do now is flange this piece out so I get it sitting right, and then cut this just extra off. And then after that, we're going to put the lower quarter panel piece on for fitting, because you're going to want to make sure that it fits nice and snug up in here for where this goes against it, because it's got to be one, it's got to seal into it. And if you're a little off, don't worry about it, because what you can do again is after you get this welded on and all nice, and this piece welded on, which will be my next video, all you gotta do is come back with clamps, get them down in the center. The best ones to use are these, because they'll pull it better. But if you just have clamps like this, smaller ones like these little 3 inches would be perfect. So what you do is just put them in on the inside a couple times. It's suck it up against this, because it's got a little bit of flexibility, not much, so you'll be able to get in there and weld it. Alright, so let's get her fitted perfectly and start welding. Alright, basically there's only 2 different kinds of flange tools. You got your manual, and then you got your pneumatic. Now with your manual, there's different kinds. There's ones like this, and ones that have a longer base on it. But when it comes to these vice ones, what you got to do is you got to be careful when you're tightening it. Now, what you do is bring it close to it, and if it stops way out, just tighten it back into where you want it. Because with this kind, this isn't for every kind, but this kind you got little teeth that you can see right here, right? Now when you tighten it too hard, you push it, and a lot of people don't really figure anything like that because it's steel, but I've done it before and tried to fix it, but I got it nice and flat again. But if you see, this one's curved, and that's from doing it. And that was one junior mistake. First time I ever got these, because my pneumatic one decided to take a crap on me. And if anybody knows how to fix these, let me know, because message me in my comments or something. I'll even show you. It doesn't flange anymore. I mean, it gives me a little tiny flange, but nothing like it used to. I've shoved washers and crap in here, but hole punch don't work anymore. It just stays up. So if anybody knows anything how to fix this, let me know. But anyways, so I flanged this piece for you. I grinded edges so you can tell the difference, and left parts rusted so you can see. Now with this, I went in and flanged out, the other side's flanged in, and you can see the flange that comes across. Now that's what it looks like in rust. That's what it looks like when it's all nice and shiny. And with this one, I went in, so you can see how it steps out. Now it's not a big difference in the flange, but it gives you plenty of area to weld up. Okay, so where this sits for the flange on that other part, it's going to go on the inside. So what you're going to want to do, find your step in your tool, get it. Let's see if you can. Here we go. I'll show you what it does. Just not tight enough. Now, got a nice little step in it. It will fit right behind that piece perfectly. Alright, let's go put it on. Alright, you can see I got it all clamped up. Now you can't see the piece really, but if I get behind here, I'll be able to show you. I can't really tell if you're seeing that, but the piece is right there. And what we did is we clamped it to the lower quarter panel piece we're putting on, so we know exactly where to weld it on this inside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and I'm going to mark the edge all the way down so we get a perfect idea of where to clamp it. And then we weld. Now you can see I took it off. My line's still there, nice and tight. And I know this has all been sandblasted, but I'm anal, so what I do anyways, I still go and grind it. Just gives me more peace of mind, so I have a better weld. So she's gonna go on just like that. Alrighty. Well, we'll get her clamped up and then we'll start welding. Alright, start getting your settings ready. Now, more for steel like this, I go with a 250. And then the other thing is you want to check your gas, but just after we get everything dialed in here, we're gonna test weld on a piece and listen to the noise. Alright, now when you check your gas, you got your more and less valve. This is kind of been paint, some overspray, but this is 20 right there. I want to keep it about 15, which is right there. And 10 is just below it. You just pull the trigger a couple times, see where it's at. Now I'm about 14. We'll go a little bit more. A tiny bit more. Perfect. Right at 15. Alright, now we'll get the test piece ready. Right there. And listen for our weld. Alright, here's our test piece. Got everything ready. Now we're just going to listen to the sound. If it's too poppy, it's going to be wrong. If it's got stripes in it, it's going to be bad. It's got to be nice. It's got to sound like bacon. Like cooking bacon. Nice sizzle. So, alright, let's listen. A little bit of popping, but sounded pretty good. Blew through, thin steel, so not a big deal. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you different techniques and what happens when you do different styles. So best way to go about this is have a nice angle. Now I like to pull away instead of push. Everybody does their welding differently. Now with thin steel you're going to want this because the higher up, or more straight on I guess, is going to be hotter. Farther away is a colder weld. So this is such thin steel that I'll show you what it does if you've got it straight on. See how it instantly went through right there? Now I'm going to show you what it looks like when you go at it sideways. Yeah, she's nice and hot. Yeah, I didn't blow through right there. I did on these. This one right here. I want to do 3 different passes, but whatever. I was too busy looking at the camera instead of through my head. But yeah, you keep it sideways. You'll get a lot less blowout. All right, now I'm gonna show you what it sounds like if you're too far away and too close. So this is too far away from the piece. You see how it crackled and everything and just went all, this sounded like hell. Well, you got a hell weld. I'm going to show you what happens when you get too close. Now I was even at an angle right here, even at an angle for cold, it still blew through. Now you're just too close, you're building too much metal on it. So you'll hear the spool wind because you're already through it. So those are just the different ways you can weld it and do it, but best way is keep it sideways, you won't blow through. Alrighty, now let's weld this baby on. She's fully clamped, ready to go. Alright, I got my basic corner tacks on there. A couple down the row, one at the bottom. I know they're a little bit smaller, but I like to do kind of small ones. They all end up generally being a little bit bigger towards the end, but they stick all nice. Alright, so I'm going to weld up a couple so you can see. As you can see, I'm going at an angle here towards it, the colder weld. And just really on and off pretty much, not much. I see no blow through, nothing like that. Alright, so it's all nice, and I'm about to do something that I always tell everybody not to do. Now mainly I tell everybody not to use air because what it does is it shrinks the metal, but when you're on pieces like this, you know, Inner Fenderwell, nothing visual, you're never going to see it or anything like that. It doesn't really matter because you're not going to do anything to the outer, and it just helps you get it done quicker. So anything non-structural like this, you know, little pieces like this, anything like that that's not really going to matter and you're never going to see, go ahead and use air or a wet cloth or a damp cloth or whatever you prefer to do. Alright, now I'm going to finish welding most of this up and we'll get back to it. Alright, so I got mostly all welded on there, but I came into a little problem, and kind of cool idea. I want to show you guys a little trick. So if you see, I got a little bit of a gap right there, so I gotta try to somehow bridge that gap with metal, and a lot of times when you're at the very end like this and it's thin metal, you're just gonna blow right through it. So if you don't have any brass at home or wherever you are doing this, or nothing that can get in there, another quick little thing you can use is your ground. Now I always clamp my ground on there because one of the biggest things you have to have is a good ground, or else you may think something's wrong with your welder, you're chasing it around, can't figure out what it is, and all it was is your ground wasn't on there good enough. So you want it on there nice and tight and clean. And you see I got it up behind here, and all you're doing is the brass is going to stop the metal from going any farther, so it will help with blow through. Same thing you always want to use for butt welding, is you want some brass behind there so you get a good weld. Now you don't have to, but I just like to because it's more assurance. Alright, so I'm going to throw a couple welds on here real quick and show you what it came out to be. See, now I put that ground on behind it, just welded straight to it pretty much. Came out really good, no blowout, nothing like that. So yeah, that's a little quick tip for if you don't have any brass around, just quick and easy to help you out. I'm going to finish welding this right there, and then we'll take a final look with it clean. Alright, she's all welded on there. No holes, all the way down. Good penetration on the back. So yeah, now that's how you do an Inner Fenderwell piece. Remember, just get your corners right, keep the heat down, use some air if you want to on these. That's okay, just don't do it on that. And like I showed you the little tip earlier, yeah, that came out awesome. Nice and flat on the back. Your best welds would be to have some type of brass material on the back, because what it does for butt welding is it pretty much stops it. It's kind of like welding a tube with helium. I mean, it's amazing what it can do for the back end of it. Alright, now we're done with this little inner fender well piece. It fits up nice and sucks inside really good. And so yeah, if you got any questions or any comments, let me know. And watch my other video for when I put this baby on. Alright, let's get her done.